Most people believe intelligence automatically leads to wealth, but reality tells a very different story. Some of the smartest people in the world stay financially stuck their entire lives. High IQ, highly educated, deep thinkers, talented, creative, and still broke. Not because they are lazy, not because they lack potential, but because intelligence alone is not enough to build wealth. In fact, sometimes being highly intelligent can actually make financial success harder. And that sounds insane until you understand the psychology behind it, because money is not purely logical. Wealth is emotional, behavioral, psychological. And smart people often lose the money game in ways average people never even notice. One of the biggest reasons smart people stay broke is overthinking. Highly intelligent people tend to analyze everything, every opportunity, every risk, every decision, every possible failure. Their brain becomes trapped in endless simulations. What if it fails? What if the market crashes? What if I choose wrong? What if there's a better option later? Meanwhile, less intelligent people sometimes take action immediately, and ironically, imperfect action often beats perfect analysis. Because the world rewards execution more than overthinking. A smart person may spend 6 months researching business ideas. A less analytical person starts the business next week. Guess who gains experience faster? Intelligence can become a prison when thinking replaces movement. And many intelligent people secretly struggle with perfectionism. They want the perfect timing, the perfect strategy, the perfect plan, the perfect moment. But wealth rarely comes from perfection. It usually comes from momentum. The market rewards speed, adaptability, risk tolerance, and emotional resilience, not endless mental optimization. Another reason smart people stay broke is because intelligence often creates arrogance, not obvious arrogance, quiet arrogance. The belief that being smart automatically means being financially wise. But intelligence and financial behavior are completely different skills. A brilliant scientist can still destroy their finances emotionally. A genius programmer can still overspend constantly. A highly educated lawyer can still drown in debt, because money is emotional. And emotions do not care about IQ. Fear affects smart people. Ego affects smart people. Impulse affects smart people. Status insecurity affects smart people, sometimes even more intensely. In fact, highly intelligent people often become exceptionally good at rationalizing terrible financial decisions. They can intellectually justify almost anything. Luxury purchases become investments. Overspending becomes deserved rewards. Risky behavior becomes strategic opportunity. The smarter the mind, the more sophisticated the self-deception can become, and that becomes dangerous. But maybe the biggest financial trap intelligent people face is identity attachment. Many smart people unconsciously build their identity around being intelligent. Being the smartest person in the room becomes emotionally important, and that creates hidden fear. Because real wealth creation often requires looking stupid temporarily. Starting businesses, taking risks, selling products, posting content online, failing publicly, learning through embarrassment. But intelligent people often avoid environments where they might look inexperienced. Their ego protects their intelligence identity, and that protection quietly blocks growth, because wealth is usually built through repeated discomfort, not intellectual safety. This is why some highly intelligent people become trapped in endless preparation loops. More courses, more books, more podcasts, more research, always preparing, rarely executing. Knowledge becomes emotional procrastination disguised as productivity. And modern society rewards this behavior early in life. Schools train intelligent people to avoid mistakes, get the right answer, avoid failure, follow systems, stay safe. But entrepreneurship and wealth creation often reward the opposite. Experimentation, risk, adaptability, tolerance for uncertainty. And many intelligent people struggle deeply with uncertainty. They want guarantees before acting, but financial opportunity rarely offers guarantees. Another hidden problem. Smart people often underestimate the power of consistency. Because intelligence naturally seeks optimization, shortcuts, efficiency, advanced strategies. But wealth is often built through boring repetition, saving consistently, investing consistently, building slowly, compounding patiently, And highly intelligent minds sometimes become bored with simplicity. They chase complexity instead. Complex investment strategies, complex business models, complex systems, when often the boring strategy would have worked far better. There is another uncomfortable truth most people never discuss. Many intelligent people secretly fear success. Not consciously, subconsciously. Because success changes identity. Relationships change, expectations change, social circles change, and deep down, some people fear becoming disconnected from who they used to be. Especially intelligent people who spent years identifying as outsiders, thinkers, observers, or misunderstood individuals. Wealth can psychologically threaten familiar identity structures, so the brain creates invisible resistance, procrastination, overanalysis, self-sabotage, perfectionism, not because they want failure, but because part of them fears transformation. And social conditioning makes this even worse. Many intelligent people grow up praised for being smart, not disciplined, not resilient, not courageous, just smart. Over time, intelligence becomes their emotional safety blanket, but life eventually presents situations where intelligence alone cannot save them. Business failures, financial pressure, competition, emotional instability. And when that happens, some intelligent people collapse psychologically because their entire self-worth depended on being mentally superior. Meanwhile, disciplined average people quietly outperform them over decades. Because consistency beats intensity, and emotional control beats raw intelligence in the long run. This is one reason many wealthy people are not necessarily geniuses. They simply developed high pain tolerance. They tolerate uncertainty, risk, embarrassment, failure, delayed gratification. While intelligent overthinkers sometimes remain trapped inside mental simulations forever. There's also a brutal reality about modern intelligence. The world often rewards visibility more than intelligence. A brilliant person nobody notices may struggle financially. A less intelligent person with communication skills, confidence, and action bias can dominate economically, because markets reward perceived value, not hidden intelligence, and many smart people hate this reality. They believe the world should reward intelligence fairly. But the world rewards outcomes, not potential, and perhaps the darkest truth of all. Some intelligent people unconsciously use intelligence as emotional protection against action. Thinking feels safe. Analyzing feels productive, learning feels comfortable, action feels dangerous. Because action creates exposure, exposure creates judgment, failure, rejection, embarrassment. And intelligent people often feel those emotional threats more intensely because their identity is deeply tied to competence. But wealth creation requires emotional resilience far more than intellectual perfection. The entrepreneur who fails 10 times but keeps moving often beats the genius who never starts. And this becomes painfully obvious over time. At 20 years old, intelligence appears dominant. At 40 years old, behavior usually matters more. Because over decades, financial outcomes are heavily driven by habits, discipline, consistency, emotional regulation, risk tolerance, adaptability, not IQ alone. And honestly, some intelligent people become addicted to potential instead of results. People constantly tell them, "You're so smart. You could do anything. You have so much potential." Potential becomes psychologically comforting, but potential without execution eventually becomes tragedy, because unrealized intelligence creates enormous internal frustration. Deep down, many intelligent people know they are capable of more, and that awareness slowly becomes painful. They begin watching less intelligent people surpass them financially, not because those people are smarter, but because they acted, repeatedly, imperfectly, aggressively, while the intelligent observer remained trapped in thought, and modern digital culture makes this even more extreme. Today, smart people can spend years consuming information without building anything. Infinite podcasts, infinite videos, infinite analysis, infinite self-improvement content. The brain mistakes information consumption for progress. But knowledge without execution changes nothing. A person can understand business perfectly and still never build wealth. Because understanding is not transformation. Action is. And perhaps this is the final psychological trap intelligent people face. They become so focused on understanding life, that they forget to actually live it. They observe instead of participate, analyze instead of build, think instead of move. And over enough years, that gap becomes devastating, because intelligence is only powerful when combined with execution. Without action, intelligence becomes entertainment, and sometimes the smartest people in the room stay broke, not because they lack ability, but because they never learned the one skill more important than intelligence itself: the ability to act despite uncertainty. Because the uncomfortable truth about wealth is this: the market does not pay you for how intelligent you are. It pays you for what you execute consistently in reality. And reality has never rewarded overthinking nearly as much as people believe.